Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show that asks you to pull out your chairs, sit down, and join us at the table. Today, we are going to be pulling out the old core rulebook here. Eventually, we're going to maybe shift off to the advanced core rulebook, but for the sake of conversation, starting simple. Because today we're talking about clerics and religious role play. So as we're going through the build, talking about mechanics, what they can do, traits, what they can do, we're also going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to build those features and feats and traits, but also how to use those to not just heal or bash a face in, but maybe add an extra layer to your cleric, because there's a lot of really fun things you can do with clerics. But until we get to that point, first and foremost, let's do some introductions. Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, I am the divine Michael Powell, and yeah, I had to smooth that in. And you can find me all over my social media stuff. It's at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. And how about you?
My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me all over the internet at pj.mcgaw, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Come find me. Let's have a lot of fun. And you know all the rest. I'll hit that up at the end. But for right now, let's get down to the books. So, clerics.
I saw you were struggling to say something else.
I want to say it, but I can't.
Say it.
Let's get down to business.
There we go.
God damn, I love that song.
Now,
anyway.
The Jackie Chan version is so much superior, just saying.
Oh, that's right, where he actually sings in, oh gosh, Cantonese or Mandarin?
But he actually did both.
Damn.
He's actually a multi-talented performer. He's actually a singer. He has actually albums.
Damn.
Yeah.
Look at, I mean, he's like The Rock, who not only has movies and music producing companies, but has just recently released his own tequila. That's not what we're about today, though. We're about clerics.
Oh yeah.
Now, I will say this. First thing I want to signpost here is to say, when talking about religious role play, we are definitely not saying that there's a real world religion that is right or wrong in this case. We are here talking about how to make some choices and do some fun things and things to consider and think about when making your cleric and when playing your devotion, pretty much.
Yeah, honestly, there is no wrong way to play your character unless you're a dick.
Yeah, there is no right or wrong way. There's your way. But if you're making choices that are directly hurting other players and maybe even hurting your GM, believe me, I've been there when I've had a player who made choices, mostly just to with me. Then maybe don't.
F with you.
Are we not at the time limit where I'm not allowed to swear?
Not yet.
Is it what is it, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or?
At least I want to say at least 10 minutes to be safe. 10
minutes to be safe. Okay. F with me, YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll edit that last part up.
Thank you. You two gods, you're evil. So want to signpost that and say, not about that, more about the fictional stuff. And as we're going through talking about religious roleplay, things that are fun to consider, as well as how to build your cleric from the Paizo handbook with really cool things that not only make your cleric awesome, but things you can use to inform you how you play that character. So I'm going to knock out the first page really fast because we've been here, we've done that. Ability is your wisdom modifier, 8 hit points plus con modifier per level. You are trained in perception. Saving throws are trained in reflex, trained in fortitude, expert in will. You are trained in religion, 1 skill of choice as determined by deity, and a number of additional skills equal to 2 plus your intelligence modifier. You are trained in simple weapons, favorite weapon of your deity, and unarmed attacks. You have untrained in all armor, but that may change depending on your doctrine, and you, of course, are trained in divine spells and class DC.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
There's going to be a key term that you're going to see a lot of during us reading out the cleric class features, which is meta magic. Just want to read out this real quick. These actions tweak your spells. You must use a meta magic action directly before casting the spell you want to alter. If you use any action during free actions and reactions other than casting spell directly after, you waste the benefits of the meta magic action. Effects added by a meta magic action are part of the spell's effect, not the meta magic action.
Right. Right. 1 second. I'm changing the header. We still
Oh,
had Roz Rave Party up. There we go. Thank you for the heads
it's
up,
been that
Commander.
kind of
Appreciate
party.
that.
Yeah, it was that kind of party.
Yeah.
We're still cleaning
Yeah.
up.
Absolutely. Big shout out to TSAT Hoggus. If you have to say it's what my character would do, you're playing it wrong. Agreed 1,000%. Yeah, and it was quite a party. Oh my goodness, that was a party. So now that we've knocked out the first page, let's talk about the traits. Now, the one thing we need to make very, very clear is that, like, clerics, everyone always looks at them as they are the healers. And while, yes, they are better suited to healing than some other classes, we're going to find that they are extremely versatile. In every game system that does it right, I even give 5e credit, Pathfinder 1, they're one of the best classes in the entire system. So, yep.
I was going to say, I will say this about the clerics. I think the cleric doesn't get enough credit for being one of, honestly, the best classes there are in tabletop gaming. Because, yeah, a lot of people usually think, cleric, heal bot, heal me, heal this. But there is so many different aspects to the cleric that makes it so much fun to play.
Yeah. And the first thing I want to get into, there's two parters. One, the entire crux of this conversation, which is your deity, your anathema, and your divine connection. Before we do, I'm going to quick bookmark Grebo Lightbrush. I always put an N in there. So sorry, Grebo. Grebo Lightbrush. I think I saw you mention something about the dice bag in our Discord. That's really awesome that you're making the dice bag for our Cleric of Love that we made last time at the table with the romantic roleplay. That's really awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Because Adaraya is the god of love in our world, and he don't get enough love. So I'm all for it. So the first thing that's really exciting and really important, and this is the crux of not only your character, but your potential roleplay, is your deity. This is going to set up so much of what you can do that is so unique to you, right? So you pick your god, and I believe the rules is written, you have to be about one alignment step away, minimum, from their position in the pantheon. And the anathema and the tenets of that religion are dependent upon that god. So let's say you're doing Edge of Legend, right? Let's say you are a cleric of the love god Adaraya. Let's say your anathema would be to twist and pervert someone's feelings, basically try to tell them that their feelings don't matter and that you're trying to ruin their relationship. All that toxic bullshit, you know what I mean? Has it been 10 minutes? The coffee is making me sweary today. Not yet. So, and that anathema is great, and because this guides your choices. And conversely, they are the tenets, the things that you have to do. And what's great about Pathfinder 2nd Edition is that they've made sure to remove what I call lawful stupid. And there's also chaotic stupid. Everything's stupid. But because the problem with character alignment is this. It is never you making choices that is the risk of judging your alignment. It's everyone else at the table judging you for your choices that then holds your alignment hostage. I've experienced this at many tables where I'll have a champion or a monk or a combo, and I'm trying to make, calls, and they're like, oh, that's not lawful good, that's not lawful neutral, I think you're chaotic neutral now. And it's like, get off my back. And what's great is that with the tenets, they always say, these are important for you to follow, but not if it causes you to put yourself in a position where you're just surely going to die. If it's going to put you in a position where you're going to create an anathema, basically they're idiot-proofing this so that other people at the table cannot dictate your character for you. And that's amazing. So now, with all that in regards to religious roleplay, think about your god, what they stand for. And now think about how you get to make those choices because every moment is going to have one of two opportunities: an opportunity to create an anathema or an opportunity to make your god happy. But I think I've rambled on about that for quite some time. Let's go to the next one, divine fonts. This is super cool. Michael, I've talked for a lot. Why don't you pick up divine font? Because I've been doing lots of yapping.
All right. I'm going to say this also. I haven't really played any clerics when it comes to Pathfinder. I played a couple clerics in the other game, other systems, but not really in Pathfinder. So a lot of this is kind of new to me as well, but I am interested in it. So divine font, though your deity's blessing, you gain additional spells that channel either the life force called positive energy or its counterforce, negative energy. When you prepare your spells each day, you can prepare additional heal or harm spells depending on your deity. The divine font spell your deity provides is listed in the divine font entry for your deity. If both are listed, you can choose between heal or harm. Once you choose, you can't change your choice short of an ethical shift or divine intervention. So we got the healing font, which is basically your I'm just going to say this right now, your heal bot right here. You gain additional spell slots each day at your highest level of cleric spell slots. You can prepare only heal spells in these slots, and the number of slots is equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier. And then we have the harmful font. You gain additional spell slots each day at your highest level of cleric spell slots. You can prepare only harm spells in these slots, and the number of slots is equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier. I actually like the idea that there are some deities that offer both. So I definitely see a character literally having. I'm gonna go right to wrestling because that's what I know. Bray Wyatt's character. He has a tattoo saying harm and heal across his knuckles. That's what I'm basically envisioning.
Well, you could definitely take that as a choice if you want to. What I love about divine font is that if it works with every build of cleric. It is free magic, and the best thing is the spells level up with you. Mm-hmm. They're automatically heightened to your level, cut in half, right? Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. They're free, and now what's also brilliant is that healing and harm, they're basically cure wounds and inflict wounds. Shh, don't tell anyone. But unlike with those spells in that other edition, you have to put them at a higher spell slot to actually get more bang for your buck. Otherwise, they're just stagnant. So you have to sacrifice slots to do this. In this, you get, I don't know, anywhere between 5 and God knows how many of these things for free. And you can still put them in your prepared spells a day. So, like, if you think about it, you can do everything.
Yeah.
You want to have like 20 harm spells tucked away in your back pocket, but still prepare heal spells so you can just rock face and heal people? You're no longer the heal bot. You're now the everything person.
Yeah. Oh, man. One of my favorite use of the harm spell is I've once played a trickster cleric, and this is how he casts his harm spell. Put her there! Basically, now, the Joker joy buzzard.
Yeah. Now, so obviously you can make choices upon this based upon your god, right? Like if your god is a god about healing, you're probably going to want to go healing, mm-hmm. but you don't have to. Again, flexibility is key. Mm-hmm. Cantrips, of course, you get cantrips at the start. Divine Lance is a very solid cantrip mm-hmm. that I think only clerics and a few other characters get. Now, the doctrine. And this is something else for you to consider. We're still level 1, right? So bear with me on this. Right now in the core rulebook, there are 2 doctrines. Probably going to be more coming down the way. The Cloister Cleric, read Hypercaster, and the War Priest, read I'ma fight ya. And now you get really cool things where you get to decide what your god is. You get to decide how the anathema and how that tenet is going to apply to your choices. Now you get to have this innate magic that no one can take from you. It's all yours, free spell slots. And now you're going to be, am I going to be the person who spent their entire time reading books, or the person who's a recent convert, or am I going to be a warrior that had to learn this in the trenches of battle, that I went to the academia and learned to fight and learn to pray. So that's really all cool stuff at level 1. With the War Priest, the Fighty Boy, and now each one has about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 things you get different levels. Basically, to put it into perspective, you get a Initiate Cleric feat. For Cloister Cleric, you get proficiency and fortitude increase at 3rd level. At 7th level, you get better DCs for your spells. And level 11, you get expert proficiency with your deity's favorite weapon. Proficiency ranks for divine spell slots are now Master and Legendary at 19th level. So if you're a Cloister Cleric, you're going to have a lot of benefits to being a caster boy. War Priest, First Doctrine basically gives you shield block, martial weapons, and medium armor. Second Doctrine at 3rd, you're now trained in martial weapons. Now you're trained in martial weapons. You're still using simple. My bad. Expert proficiency in the deity's favorite weapon. At 11th level, you're now an expert in your DCs. At 15th level, you basically just get the Juggernaut trait. And at 19th, your DCs are no Master.
And PJ, can we remind the audience what our lovely Alona doctrine is?
Right. Our lovely Alona from Edge of Legends is a cloistered cleric of Afre, homebrew goddess about love, love to a degree, healing, redemption, forgiveness, and light. And I believe she is on her 2nd doctrine. So now her fortitude saves are experts. So I'm going to throw some more poisons her way.
Oh.
So yeah, all of this is really cool out the gate. Let's, chat, give me a god, give me a cleric that you played, and talk about how you role-played that relationship as we continue. And we'll talk more in depth about ways that you can take your healing and harming font and use it for this, not just mechanical, like really cool ways to basically bring your god's presence to this world. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to storm through the traits because there's not that many of them.
Sure.
You get Cleric feat, skill feat at 2nd level, General feats and skill increase at 3rd, Ability boost at 5th, Alertness at 5th. Alertness just gives you Proficiency Expert in Perception. Ancestry feats at 5th as well. Resolve at 9th, which means your will is now a Master proficiency, and when you succeed, it's now a crit success. Lightning Reflexes at 11th, same for Reflex. Divine Defense. Your proficiency rank in unarmored defense is now increased to expert. This is great for anyone. I don't care who you are. Weapon specialization at 13th level takes a while, but when you get it, does more damage depending on your proficiency. 19th level, miraculous spell. That is the capstone that gives you your 10th level god power. You are now so powerful when you pray, the big stuff happens. Yeah, and thankfully, that's all the features. Please cover it.
I'm going to read chat really quick. Sidious Ritz posted Raven Queen Boy. Turtle who uses it to justify the joy in an otherwise uncaring cold universe. You find joy in big moments. Fun, making importance. I guess he seems to look for signs everywhere and bug his DM with a lot of divine spells like Augury. Not sure if I did the prop right, though.
Oh, awesome job, Sidus Ritz. Again, no wrong way to play a character. There's only ways to play it, like a dick and like not a dick. So the ways you can role play that, right? You think of it this way. If you have a base concept, right? What is a religion? Let's ask that question. Or how do you enact a religion? 1, repetition. 2, ritual. 3, clearly cultured language. And last but not least, I think all those combine to ceremony, right? And the cool thing about being a cleric is that you are the house and word of your deity. So unless there's someone else there who does it a little different, you're not wrong. Make bold choices. Like, what's the repetition? A daily routine. You get up, you brush your hair a certain way, you do something a certain way. Ritual. You treat certain people a certain way. By that I mean like enemies, you give them a certain amount of mercy or not. When you do something a certain way, how do you do it? How would your God want you to do that thing their way, right? And then you have the prayer. What are the words of affirmation, the words of strength, the words of empowerment or fear that your God puts into your heart, that your deity puts into your heart? And then how does that get expressed? And this is all fun because especially the ritual part, as part of the ceremony, you can do some cool things with that. Like, for example, in Edge of Legend, every day when all the paladins wake up, they have to pray to their deity, right? They do it in different ways. Tobias takes like an incense box and some few things. I'm not going to go to a lot of details because it's kind of mysterious. But you got Morel who kind of like he kind of gets on his knees and he bows and he prays to the sun in a certain direction as it's rising. And then he goes over his beard grooming because that's part of the culture of his faith, right? It's a combined aspect. If you have ideas of like how your character would embody that deity, put it in the chat. Things like I made sure that my character never slept indoors because he worshipped or they worshipped the goddess of the forest. I always made sure to like sprinkle grass and water on my forehead so I knew that the trees were with me always, you know? Things like that. Those are really great little touches that you can use to really express what your character's about.
Yeah. And also in real life, honestly, little rituals kind of just it brings small comfort to people.
Absolutely. And like all those things I talked about, like ask yourself what makes a religion? What makes a religious participant? You know, the ritual, the words, and then that allows you the freedom to create something that's so different and new. Now, I think I beat this dead horse. We're going to talk more about this as we continue on. Because now we're at the feats. The traits are super easy, barely an inconvenience. How about you start off with density?
What was that? Sorry.
How about you? Oh, did my audio go out there for a bit?
Little bit for a second. What did he say?
How about you start us off with dead simplicity, the first feat
Okay.
in the core rulebook?
Deadly Simplicity. It's a first level feat. Your prereq with this is deity with a simple or unarmed attack favored weapon, trained with your deity's favorite weapon. Your deity's weapon is especially powerful in your hands. When you are wielding your deity's favorite weapon, increase the damage die of that weapon by 1 step. If your deity's favorite weapon is an unarmed attack, such as the fist, and its damage die is smaller than d6, instead increase its damage die to d6. So if you're typically an unarmed attack is what 1d4, you could bump that up to a d6 now.
Yeah, if the unarmed strike is your deity's favorite weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, in the book, there's that deity, Iori. And Iori, their signature weapon is an unarmed strike. That's why you get a lot of monks that worship this deity. Now, your fist do d6 because your god empowers that weapon.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. Say you do have an archetype that bumps it up to d6. Would that make it to the next level as a d8? No?
I'm very glad you asked because I've actually had to do research on this. Mechanically, no. When you are taking abilities that increase your unarmed strike specifically, it cannot go higher than a d6. And I think the reason for that is when you actually look at the monk build specifically, they have special martial techniques that are higher dice value and that they can activate on a whim. Sidious Ritz, anyone else out here a cleric main or I'm alone? You are not alone, my dude. I've had many clerics. Story time. I had and in the other edition, the other game, I had a war priest of a god of war. And I was trying to figure out how can I play a war priest who's not like Full Metal Jacket, right? How can I do that? Because I didn't want to be all like, I'm so hyped for a war. So what I did was I made this celestial being, this Azamar, if you will, who had 2 personalities. One was his normal personality, who's like, good morning. I'm everyone's best friend. I'm here to help. That's all I want to do is help and prove myself. And so when the time came to prove himself, he started casting thaumaturgy, and he started shining bright and white, and he put this hood up that he hid under his armor. and he was very big and buff, and he'd walk around and he'd go, "And now I am here to save the people." He was he was a superhero in a world that didn't have superheroes, and he was basically Shazam. So that's a good way you can like play a cleric and have tons of flexibility. Anyway, that being said, domain initiate. You want to cover that, Michael?
Okay. I already covered domain simplicity, but
Oh, no, a deadly simplicity. Domain
I
initiate.
just did that.
Okay, no, I just wanted to know if you wanted to read more. I'll cover domain initiate. Your deity bestows a special spell related to their powers. Select one domain, a subject of your particular interest to you within your religion from your deities list. Most deities have about 5. That's kind of the general rule of thumb. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. You gain an initial domain spell for that domain, a spell unique to that domain and not available to other clerics. Each domain's theme and domain spells appear on a table on page 441. Domain spells are a type of focus spell, cost 1 focus point to cast, and you now have 1 point in your focus pool, maximum of 3. You refill your focus point during your preparations or any time as long as you have 10 minutes to do so. They basically count as automatically heightened. This is really cool. If you guys did get to see Raw's Rave Party, all my players had these domain powers because they were gods. So they have these really cool special powers that they could use at these focus points. Michael, didn't you use one?
I used a couple, I believed. One of them was turning into a dragon. Yeah, and that was fun. Turning into a dragon on Rainbow Road and just basically creating a blockade with a limo.
Absolutely. Yeah, meanwhile, the Chinese hero and trickster god Sun Wukong was pulling a Grand Theft Auto down Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
Really quick, when I'm you say it out loud.
Really quick, I'm going to read some of the stuff in chat. Let's see. We have Wolfsong 1985 posted, "Oh, we're going to talk about my boy." Sidious Risk goes, "Haha, ditto. I feel like such an imposter here, but no one I know plays Pathfinder 2nd Edition." Well, you know some people here now that plays Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Yeah. Let's chat about this awesome stuff, my dude. Like, I think the cleric in this one has so much greater versatility than the clerics in the other edition.
Let's see. And moving on anyway, let's talk about the next feat, which is called Harming Hands. That's a hand that has a tattoo that says harm across the knuckles. It's a level 1 feat. For a prereq, you have to have harmful font. The power of your negative energy grows. When you cast harm, you roll d10s instead of d8s. So basically, you bump up that damage die up 1 level.
Yep. And the one right next to its healing hands is the exact same, but it's heal instead of harm. And this is so good. Not only at first level when you have like maybe 20 HP, but down the road, could you imagine, if you will, a 10th level harm spell? And you're casting it, I think just one action to actually just apply to one person. That's 10d10 necrotic damage. I'm sorry, negative damage to someone.
That's not
for
bad.
Free.
That's not bad. Honestly, like I said before, these powers, in addition to, was it focus spells? So good. So useful.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that with, focus spells, correct me if I'm wrong, even if you run out the points, all you have to do is focus for, 10 minutes or so? Boom, you get a couple points back.
Yeah. 10 minutes of focus, which can be done in between fights. If you're in a dungeon, you can just hand wave and say, I take 10 minutes to, and again, this is where you get to do your religious role play. If you want to pray for 10 minutes, how would your deity want you to talk to them? Like, would the god of war want you to make a big show or be stoic, quiet, and introspective?
In my mind, I like thinking, all right, my character takes a knee.
All right, take a knee. Coach has to have some words. And you know that's the best part. Like, if you want to play, now actually I'm kind of wrong with this. I kind of like it. If you want to play a champion or a cleric of war as a football star, as a football player, why not? You could talk about like
PJ.
the war is the gridiron. It's the gridlock.
PJ, I just
Yeah.
realized something. We're basically describing King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. That
Oh yeah.
cartoon.
Oh yeah. 100%. And that's another way you can play it too.
Anybody else remember that cartoon?
We did talk about it at the romantic roleplay session
Mm-hmm.
last week. So yeah, oh yeah, Sidious Writs. Unfortunately, I don't know many of the rules. As a literal lawyer and rule lawyer player at heart, it kills me. I'm enjoying this because I get to learn it slowly and with my ego intact. Absolutely. Um, uh, that's why we love doing this. We get to talk mechanics. Also, some roleplay ideas. I think the religious stuff is the coolest because you get to basically invent your own rituals depending on your deity.
Hey PJ,
We move
why
right
don't you
along.
take the? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, what was that?
I was gonna say, why don't you take the next one since Healing Hands is basically the same as the other one.
Sure thing. Holy Castigation. You combine holy energy with positive energy to damage demons, devils, and their evil ilk. Say that 5 times fast. Heal spells you cast damage fiends as though they were undead. This does require some brief explanation. The heal spell and the harm spell are technically not radiant or necrotic. They are positive and negative energy. Positive energy being the energy that suffuses all living things. So if you are undead, that positive energy, that heal spell, hurts real bad. Conversely, the negative energy is, if you will, the life force or willpower of the undead, of the undeath. And that energy hurts us as living beings because it like basically saps life out of us. It brings us closer to death. But for the dead, it heals them. It gives them more vigor. So when you choose Holy Castigation, you can now use your heal spells as attack spells against fiends. Although I think technically speaking, harm still does the job, but this way you can hyper focus into heal without losing spell slots, and now you have a weapon for all occasions.
Really quick, this reminds me of actually a necromancer I used to play. My In the game, I had a necromancer, and a friend of mine was playing a grave cleric. So basically, raise the dead. Grave cleric, negative energy, negative energy, negative energy. Heal, heal. It was basically healing all my like zombies and skeletons, my skelly boys.
Yes. Even more so, like you could try and be a wizard and focus into necromancy and have what I'd call wizard problems, or you could be a cleric, necromancer, war priest with specialization in the harm spell. Now you're basically a champion like 0.75 with an army of the undead that you can just constantly heal and raise and heal and raise.
I I will say this though, if you raise too much undead, that's gonna give your DM a big headache. So let your DM know. Yeah, my character is as basically a summoner, so just be sure to prep all that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Don't just spring it on them.
I wanna create a homebrew rule about that because I feel like there are so many classes dedicated to just raising whole zoos of people, and that's cool, but it becomes a nightmare for turn economy and time flow. I would rather like cut it down to like for the next 3 rounds, there's a quickened action that can only be used by you to attack with your undead horde, and just hand wave so much of it. But we'll crunch that later.
All right.
Nope. Last level 1 feat.
Uh, well, in my tablet here it says reach spell.
Yep, that's what.
Okay.
Thankfully, that's what mine says too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a level 1 feat. Essentially, your spells have greater reach. You can extend the range of your spells. If the next action you use is to cast a spell that has range, increase that spell range by 30 feet. As is standard for increasing spell ranges, if the spell normally has a range of touch, you extend it to a range of 30 feet. So that's actually really useful for touch spells where you can't quite reach them, right next to them. Okay, reach spell, 30 feet.
Yeah. This is also really good for you closer clerics out there. Now, first of all, I want to say first level is so heavy for clerics. You have so much amazing potential on character creation, not only thematically with your rituals, how you pray, how you talk to people, how you do little things to always keep honor to your gods and make sure you're walking the line just right, but build-wise, mechanics. You could do a cloistered cleric with the harm font, choose a necromantic undead god, take the reach spell, and now you're casting the spell harm at 30 feet of distance.
Yeah.
Imagine, because like remember you said the heal and harm spell are just cure wounds and inflict wounds, and the problem with inflict wounds is it's a touch spell. What if you're playing a squishy cleric on purpose because you want to be a caster? You have to run your dumbass into combat and just put a giant hit me sign on your face. Yeah. Now you're casting inflict wounds like it's a guiding bolt.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, even if you are playing an armored cleric, range is just more options. It just opens up more options for you, and that's always good. I always like options.
Why need a crossbow when you can have a death bow? Mm-hmm. Oh, and then you get to flavor, if your powers are an extension of your deity, right? Mm-hmm. Then you get to flavor the look, the feel, affect all five senses, because we live with those. So maybe your harm spell, if you are the god of love, Autoraya, and you're using harm spell, instead of being that bright crimson red, it could be this kind of sickly wine red. And instead of a lion roaring, it could be like a broken heart breaking in midair, or it could be the sound of a couple like crying together as they're ending their relationship. Go for the poetry, my dude. Yeah. Make it hurt.
Going to read some stuff from chat real quick. Thagus, I'm probably mispronouncing your logon name, but I apologize. But I think one of the best things I've done roleplay-wise was make rituals for the dead of various gods that she would know. Avenging Penguin. It's all good until someone shows up with a boomstick. Groovy. And Sidious Ritz. I play the wrong version of this game, but I just find my Twilight Cleric having... Oh, okay. But having my Twilight Cleric having Leomund's tiny hut as making it helpful to say your nightly prayers under the stars, plus sleep under the stars no matter where you are.
That's also really cool. Mm-hmm. And you can take spell choices to be like, well, my God would want me to have this. Now, don't use that as a dumb excuse where it's like, can I have Fireball? Why would you have that? My God would want me to have this. Liar! You want to blow crap up. In which case, honestly, may I suggest harm?
I was going to say, technically, then at that point, your God is your DM. And your DM does not want you to have that.
I'll say this. I've heard the build of like, I play a cleric, but I worship the GM. That's what I call a joke gimmick. It's going to be funny 10 times. And then you're going to realize there's no substance to it. You don't have anything to build a character off of that. But that being said, some level feats. First one is cantrip expansion. You can prepare 2 additional cantrips each day. Now, there's a difference between what spells you know and what you can prepare. Because as a cleric, technically, your magic is not really a spell, is the manifestation of your prayer to your god. You know all the magic. Mm-hmm. You can only prepare so many a day.
And honestly, once again, cantrips are so good, especially in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So much uses.
Ugh.
Especially if you're creative.
Yeah, I'm so glad we moved away from the era where like a cantrip did 1d3 damage. Why? What was that going to achieve? Anyway.
It's basically poking a bear with a sharp stick.
Yeah. I do 1d3 damage, but it's got a +3. Who cares? I can miss and do that much damage. Anyway. Why don't you get the next one, Michael Powell?
I also want to add, you know what? At that point, just use your harm ability there.
Yeah. You got like 5 or 6 free casts of harm at level 1, depending on your stats. Use it. Use it.
Anyway, communal healing. It's a level 2 feat. You're a conduit for positive energy, and as you channel it through you, it heals some of your minor injuries. When you cast a heal spell to heal a single creature other than yourself, you regain hit points equal to the spell level of the heal spell. So
Yeah.
better heals.
And that's always one of the conflicts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who do you keep up, the healer or the healed? The people that are dying are the one who can save them. Who do you keep up? This is good because you're not going to be getting a lot of healing back as the healer, but you're getting some,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be really useful down the road.
I like to point out also, especially playing a healer, it's a lot. Think of it as a lot of resource management when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's this ability. I think is actually very reminiscent. If you've ever played Overwatch, there are a few healers that have this ability, a little differently mechanic wise, but the same idea. When you heal someone, you get to tick back yourself, like maybe like Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is this: is that clerics aren't just healers; they're the most versatile class in all D&D and Pathfinder and tabletop role playing games. Next up, emblazoned armament. Carefully etching a sacred image into a physical object, you steel yourself for battle. You can spend 10 minutes emblazoning a symbol of your deity upon a weapon or shield. The symbol doesn't fade until 1 year has passed. But if you emblazon any armament, any symbol you previously emblazoned, any symbol already emblazoned on that item disappears. So you can only do it to one item for 1 year. If you do it on something else, you can't have two.
Mm-hmm.
This item becomes a religious symbol of your deity and can be used as a divine focus while emblazoned. And it gains other benefits determined by the type of item. If you put this on a shield, that shield now gains a +1 to its hardness. It gets a +1 catch-all damage resistance. Think about that. At level 2. That weapon now gets a +1 to all damage rolls for a year. And if you put it on another weapon, that weapon gets to have that. The other one loses it. At level 2, you now have the power to make any of your equipment just better, astronomically better.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, the next feat is actually one of my favorite levels, lower level feats. Something that I highly suggest, especially if you're going to be playing I guess you could say, a harm cleric, is Sap Life. It's a level 2 feat. You draw the life force out of your enemies to heal your own wounds. When you cast a harm spell and damage at least one living creature, you regain hit points equal to the spell level of your harm spell. If you aren't a living creature, you gain no benefit from this feat. Yeah, basically,
It's amazing.
it's basically vampiric touch.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a free vampiric touch. And if you get reach spell at the first level, at second level, you now have a 30-foot range vampiric touch.
Yeah.
Dude,
so good.
Second
So
level,
good.
clerics, best class, calling it. Next up, turn undead. You know that thing that other editions used to give you like much later, like around level 4? Level 2, turn undead. When you use a heal spell to damage an undead creature, each undead of your level or lower that critically fails the save gains the fleeing condition. Now, this should be said, Pathfinder 2nd Edition has a lot of different conditions. Fear, in this game, basically gives a bunch of negatives to your saves, your hits, and your checks, right? And the value of the penalty is equal to the number. So if it's a Fear 2, you're getting -2. Fear 5, -5. And generally speaking, it incrementally goes down. Now, fleeing 1 means that for one whole round, every time you've hurt them with this spell, they have to run away from you, not just take a penalty. You get the best use of turn undead at level 2 instead of other games where it's like you might be able to scare people with a very, very, very low CR. This is your level or lower, and this stays for the entire game. Something to think about.
All right. Next one is Versatile Font. It's a level 2 feat. Your prereq has to be Harmful Font or Healing Font. Deity that allows clerics to have a deity that allows clerics to have both fonts. As you explore your deity's aspects, you move beyond restrictions on healing or harming. You can prepare either heal or harm. in spell slots gained from the harmful font or healing font. Once again, more options, me likey.
More flexibility. Level 2, and already there's like 9 or 10 different builds of Cleric that aren't just heal bots. I mean, think about that. Anyway, 4th level feats. Now, for those that are new to the system, I think Wolfsong and Sidious Ritz mentioned they haven't done PF2 a lot. Your build is based around the feats that you're going to get almost every other level. So these aren't like 5e feats where you get 1 every 5 levels. They're pretty stacked, but not a lot of it's applicable. This is how you're building your character step by step. 4th level, you get to choose. I love this one already. Channel Smite. 2 action cost. You expend a harm or a heal spell depending on what's in your font. Make a melee strike and add the spell's damage to the strike damage. This is negative damage if you expend harm, positive if you expend heal. So let's imagine you're beating up some undead people and you have heal spell. 2 actions. Well, I guess it can only be 1 action. Still, either way, that's a bonus. Bonus D10, D8, depending on level. That's insane.
All right. Next feat is a level 4 feat called Command Undead. 1 action. Prereq is Harmful Font and an Evil Alignment. You grasp the animating force within an undead creature and bend it to your will. If the next action you use is to cast harm targeting 1 undead creature, you transform the effects of that harm spell. Instead of harm's normal effects, the target becomes controlled by you if its level is equal to or lower than your level, -3. It can attempt a will saving throw to resist being controlled by you. If the target is already under someone else's control, the controlling creature also rolls a saving throw, and the undead uses the better result. Crit success means the target is unaffected and temporarily immune for 24 hours. Success, the target is unaffected. Failure, the undead creature becomes a minion under your control. The spell gains a duration of 1 minute but is dismissed if you or an ally attacks the minion undead. And a crit fail means as failure but the duration is 1 hour. I want to say I do have one problem with this feat. The fact that one of the prereq has to be evil alignment. I do not agree with that. Because I would love to play like I could see a cleric who's more of a neutral alignment, like whose job is kind of like being a undertaker or someone who does the ceremonies of the dead, have this ability.
Well, let me see. There must be a mechanical / fluff reason for that.
I can only see. Oh, it's
Okay.
undead.
So
it's
I
evil.
think what's important. Yeah. Because I think the big thing is like, it's one thing to kill the undead. It's another thing to try to be their tyrant leader. And I think that's kind of what it's trying to imply is that you're not doing this with respect to the dead. You're basically, I already said it, a tyrant. So I can see why that would be evil. Plus, you can also do this effect with a spell as a neutral character. Next up, Directed Channel. To get Directed Channel, you have to have the Reach spell. And here's why. When you cast a version of Harm or Heal that has an area. Now, I think generally speaking, there is the full 3 cast version of Harm and Heal. So here's another cool thing about this spell that you get for free. This spell has 3 variants. 1 action does the job. Heals or harms 1 person within touch. The second, the 2 action cost, does it with a lot more oomph. The third version makes it an automatic, I think like 30-foot AoE. So it's like heal, super heal, AoE heal, or AoE hurt if it's harm. But if you get the reach spell, then you have the first 2 actions with a 30-foot range. Now Directed Channel turns those spells into a 60-foot cone. Think about that, a 60-foot harm cone, that's bonkers, or a 30-foot emanation. So your AoE to heal and hurt, gonna get a little bigger, or if you got reach spell, this massive AoE in front of you to heal or
Honestly,
hurt.
if you have the option between line of sight or cone, always go cone. Yeah, it may not be as far, but the AoE, that sweet,
Yeah.
sweet AoE.
Oh yeah. And at level 4, this is like your oh god, this is like your special beam cannon that
Yeah.
hits 20 dudes. Or I'm sorry, 5 dudes in each direction, like in a thing.
Yeah. All right. Next up is improved communal healing. Level 4 feat. Prereq is communal healing. You can direct access channel energy outward to benefit an ally. You can grant the hit points you would regain from communal healing to any one creature within range of your heal spell instead of yourself. You can also use communal healing when you target only yourself with a heal spell. Though, if you do, you must grant the additional healing to someone other than yourself. So, yeah, this is, once again, very useful for when somebody's on, death's door. And you
Yeah.
need that little extra oomph.
Yeah, and I really like that because like now this basically lets you take one healing spell and use it to heal 2 people, potentially bringing someone back from the dead without having to like spare the dying or having them make a roll. Necrotic Infusion, 1 action, harmful font, evil alignment prerequisites. Um, if the next action you use is to cast harm to restore hit points to an undead creature, the target then deals an additional 1d6 negative damage with its melee weapons and unarmed attacks. If the harm spell is at least 5th level or higher, this increases to 2d6 and 3d6 at 8th level. So this is, again, an amazing ability that grows with you. If you are a level 16 evil aligned harm font cleric of whatever you want to be, that would make sense with that. You could just start super buffing your skeleton minions. Think about that. That's so awesome. Anyway, I just think that's really cool that you could start having like, this is my best friend, Skelly Bones. Kill him, Skelly Bones.
All right. Next feat is a level 6 feat called Cast Down, which takes 1 action. Prereq is harmful font or healing font. The sheer force of your faith can bring a foe crashing down. If your next action you use is to cast harm or heal damage to damage one creature, the target is knocked prone if it takes any damage from the spell. If the target critically fails its save against the spell, it also takes a negative 10-foot status penalty to its speed for 1 minute. So, yeah, it adds something to your harm or heal spell ability.
Yeah, you absolutely get some more crowd control there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, also flavor. You have the ritual, you have the words, everything else. What if the way the god manifested in this was different? Maybe a normal heal would be like, for example, when Alona does her healing magic, her goddess's holy symbol is the passion flower, right? And a little passion flower grows, or purple petals start to fall. What if she does cast down and now just a giant plant just mollywops you, just whack, smacks you on the face? Play with it. Your gods will thank you. Divine weapon, free action, once per turn. You finish casting a spell using one of your divine spell slots on your turn. So any spell you cast, free action after that. You siphon residual spell energy into a weapon you're wielding. Until the end of your turn, the weapon deals an additional 1d4 force damage. You can instead deal an additional 1d6 damage of alignment type that matches one of your deity's alignment components. As usual for aligned damage, this can only be done on creatures of the opposite alignment. So you either get 1d4 that hurts everything, or 1d6 added that's going to hurt 1 or 2 specific things. Mm-hmm. But that flexibility is there, and it's really good.
I just want to read this that Reef Psyche posted. Bones, Malone, and the Calcium Crew. Rattle 'em, boys.
That sounds so familiar. Help me out. Was that from something, or is that just something so good it sounds like it should be a thing?
All right. Next level 6 feat is called Selective Energy. As you call down divine power, you can prevent some enemies from benefiting or some allies from being hurt. When you cast a version of harm or heal that has an area, you could designate a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier, minimum 1, that are not targeted by the spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is good and tricky because from what I've been seeing on the forums, there is a big debate, right? And this debate mostly stems from Pathfinder 1, which stated, as a cleric, if you do what they call channel positive energy, which basically is what the heal spell became for anyone who can cast it, the third level action is you cast heal in a big AoE, like channel positive energy could. But the problem with this channeling energy is that it would heal all creatures, including bad guys. It would heal your enemies if they were caught in the heal blast. However, and for my rule lawyer in the chat, Sidious Ritz, something to remember. The wording says a willing participant. And then the conversation became, in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, well, what's a willing participant to healing? Would the enemy be willing to take a magical effect from the enemy? Or would it just assume all life wants to continue living and bypass that and heal them anyway? Now, this is what I call the F you pay me skill, because there's no argument anymore. Now, if you want to have the argument before level 6, Sidious Ritz, I leave it to you. I think you can present a stronger case for your position. But when you get to level 6, I highly recommend taking this for the AoE heals. That way you can demand not to heal the bad guys. Otherwise, it's up in the air.
Reap Psyche posted, that's why selective channeling was essentially a necessity feat in 1.0.
Big yes, absolutely. Because there was no room for debate in first edition, you had to get that feat so you wouldn't accidentally heal the bad guys.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah.
All right, now we're moving on to the level 8 feat, and we got the Align Armament, which is a one action ability, and the frequency is once per round. Prereq is chaotic, evil, good, or lawful deity. So, honestly, it's almost a spread of everything except neutral. Almost. Because got that lawful still. But anyway, you bring a weapon into the metaphysical concordance with your deity's belief. When you select this feat, choose chaotic, evil, good, or lawful. Your choice must match one of your deity's alignment components. The action has the trait corresponding to the chosen alignment component. When you use this action, you touch a weapon. For 1 round, that weapon deals additional 1d6 damage of the chosen type to creatures of the opposed alignment. For example, if you chose good, the weapon would deal an extra 1d6 good damage to evil creatures. If you align an armament again, any previously aligned armament loses its additional damage. Special. You can select this feat a second time, choosing your deity's other alignment component. When you align an armament, you can choose either alignment component.
Yeah. So if they're a lawful good deity, you can make the weapon damage lawful or good. Now, there was a few things we skipped. I want to go back, cover them really fast. Steady spellcasting basically means if someone would disrupt your spellcasting action, attempt a DC 15 flat check. If you succeed, your action isn't disrupted. Unlike, I think, in other cases, it might be. Advanced domain. This is important. Because remember those really cool focus spells we talked about earlier? This is where you get another one. Your study your prayers will unlock deeper secrets of your deity's domain. You get an advanced domain spell from your domains on page 441. And you increase the number of focus points in your focus pool by 1. You can select this feat multiple times. Each time you must select a different advanced domain spell from a domain for which you have an initial domain spell feature. Now, it's important to note with focus points, you only get them if you get the abilities that grant you a focus spell. If you never get a focus spell, focus power, focus cantrip, whatever, well, focus cantrips are different, then you're not going to get a focus point. And the only time you get more focus points is by either taking specific feats that grant them or by getting new focus spells. So if you want this really cool free power on top of all your other free powers, do recommend, then I always recommend sliding into a focus power if you can take it, or focus spell.
All right. Let's see here. Read some stuff from chat. Avenging Penguin posted, I would think that the enemies wouldn't know you are casting a heal and therefore wouldn't accept it. However, I don't know how Pathfinder works.
Very, very good point. Yeah, like, again, the GM DM call, that's always what matters in these moments, right? Would the GM or DM, in this case GM, think to himself, okay, Avenging Penguin's right. They wouldn't know that was a heal spell. They could maybe assume after the case, but then how would they know that they are going to benefit from that? That's a GM's call. But the one thing that I would stress is the language for the 6th level feat that basically says you can choose to ignore them no matter what. So I would say if you want to create a little friendly buffer for your players, say until level 6, you're going to get a pass, but if you don't get this feat at level 6, I may have to like start rolling to see which one of the enemies willfully chooses to take the healing and which one doesn't. You know, compromise is always the name of the game.
All right, another level 8 feat called Channel Succor. You can remove conditions with divine... Oh, the prereq for that is Healing Font. You can remove conditions with Divine Grace. You can sacrifice one heal spell you prepared in your extra slots from Healing Font to cast one of the following spells instead. Remove Curse, remove Disease, remove Paralysis, or Restoration. The spell is heightened to the same level as the heal spell you sacrifice. This is... Yeah, around level 8, you're going to be dealing with a lot of condition effects, and this becomes extremely useful.
Yeah. That's what I love about clerics in this version. They just get so much flexibility and options, so much free stuff. The fact that they get, like, at level 1, 5 free heal spells, and then at level 8, those spells basically become any of those restorative spells on the fly. Like, chef's kiss. Ooh, I like the name of this new one. Cremate Undead. Your positive energy sets undead alight. When you use a heal spell to damage undead, each undead that takes damage also take persistent fire damage equal to the spell's level. And I believe they're not limited to how like the different sources of persistent damage, so you can just do an AoE heal on a bunch of undead. Now they're all on fire.
There you go. All right, next up is a level 8 feat called Emblazoned Energy. Prereq is Emblazoned Armament. With elemental forces, you make your emblazoned symbols more potent. When you emblazon an armament, you can choose from the following effects instead of the effect listed in that feat. These effects have the same restrictions as the base option. You have Shield. You could choose Acid, Cold, Electricity, Fire, or Sonic. The wielder gains the shield's circumstance bonus to saving throws against that damage type and can use shield block against damage of that type. The shield also gains resistance to that damage type equal to half your level if you have a domain spell with a trait matching that type, such as Fire. Then you have Weapon, which is choose Acid, Cold, Electricity, Fire, or Sonic. The weapon deals an extra 1d4 damage of that type. Increase this extra damage to 1d6 if you have a domain spell with a trait matching that type, such as Fire.
Oh no! I just realized something.
What?
Is this considered weapon dice?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So for those of you who are familiar with the weapon creation system, the runes, there's something called the striking rune. What the striking rune does comes lesser, greater, and major. It adds one more damage dice for the weapon. If you're level 8 and have Emblazoned Energy and have a D4 or a D6, and that weapon is just a lesser striking rune, which I believe is a level 5 rune, you could double both of those dice. You can have a D8 weapon with a D6 fire bonus, whatever, and now non-crit. Non-crit, mind you, when you roll that weapon, that's 2d8 and 2d6 plus strength modifier. And if by some awesome miracle you're able to channel smite with that bad boy, you're now getting bonus, level 8, at least like 3 or 4 d8 damage on top of that. Before a crit, which doubles all of that. That's disgusting, y'all.
Yeah. Honestly, this is when you really start coming into your own with this feat At this level, War Priest.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the best part. You don't even have to be a war priest. You just have to have the emblazed armament, which is not required you to be a war priest doctrine. You could be a cloistered cleric with a bow staff and beat ass. Like, it's bonkers. Also, we should say the emblazoned armament gave you a +1 to damage. So that's doubled on a crit as well. This is insane. Now, this is why I'm saying we have to make sure that this is considered dice damage or just elemental damage, because it specifically states the runes double or add more weapon dice damage. So if this is considered part of the weapon dice damage, then that's bananas. Anyway, sorry, I just had a mathematical nightmare, and I had to explain it. Level 10, we're halfway there. Castigating weapon. You have to get the Holy Castigation from before, I believe Michael mentioned that earlier. The force of your deity's castigation strengthens your body so you can strike down the wicked. After you damage a fiend using a heal spell, your weapon or unarmed strike deals extra good damage to the fiends equal to half the level of the heal spell until the end of your next turn. This is cumulative with any good damage the weapon already has, such as the Holy Rune. So, you cast heal on a fiend after taking the Holy Castigation, and then you start smashing face. And you're going to smash face a lot harder.
All right. We have a level 10 feat here called Heroic Recovery. It's one action. Prereq is Healing Font and a good alignment. The restorative power of your healing invigorates the recipient. If the next action you use is to cast Heal, targeting a single living creature, and the target regains hit points from that spell, it also gains 3 bonuses until the end of its next turn. A +5 status bonus to its speed, and also a +1 status bonus to attack rolls, and on top of that, also a +1 status bonus to damage rolls.
Oh, man.
So yeah, healing you and buffing you in the same time. Now that's resource management right there.
Oh my god. And the best thing is that that's the equivalent of some level spells, which you can just do for free when you heal someone. So now if you want to go full support at level 10, you are the support. I also want to say this. Castigation weapon, I had a thought. The thing about holy, and to some extent unholy people, is that they are willful. They are strong. They are present and confident. Now, they may be docile, they may be stoic, they may be silent, they may be shy. But that does not stop them from being powerful of spirit, powerful of will. When you're role-playing what it's like to cast a holy spell at someone and then buff them, or cast a holy spell at an enemy and then ruin them, it's almost like the 1-2 punch to remind them there are forces in this universe that are present and immense. And this is your chance to shout into the void of all the cosmic creation and say, I am here, my God is here, United States of Smash, pow. So
hey, that's my name.
Yes, my God is here. So take that time to role play that will, right? That presence of spirit, especially with the heroic recovery, we can be like you heal someone, and you'll, like, let's say your god is I know Iori, the god of enlightenment and peace, and like, well, you heal them, and like, and you can say something like, Aori knows your mind. It is not done thinking yet. Like, what else? Like survive, so you may know more secrets of your own existence.
Oh, PJ, I just thought of this. Take a knee. Here's a salt tablet. Get back in the game.
Yeah. It's like, sorry. It's like, all right, take a knee. Win one for the Gipper. I don't know who the Gipper is, but okay. So yeah, play that. There's poetry to that, and there's a presence. And the cool thing is that presence of willfulness does not remove who you are when you're not willful. If you want to be a shy little whatever, have a switch, flip it. Improve command. Oh, what was that?
Oh, no, never mind. I was going to just read out what Maynard just posted.
Yeah, go ahead.
The kind of options you normally only see from healers in JRPGs.
Mm-hmm. They're sitting there just clutching their staff, like mine's a fork right now, and they're like, I must heal you because everyone's relying on me, and I just want everyone to be happy. Summons an angel to kill you.
Well, that's Digimon right there, then.
I mean, pretty much
Yeah.
every healer anime character, yeah. Um, well, thank you so much, Avenging Penguin. We love talking shop and we love talking with you guys. So if you also have thoughts on clerics that you've played or questions about clerics and how to role play some really cool ideas, from the chat, we're here to talk with you too. Improve Command Undead, another choice, level 10. Prerequisites, harmful font, Command Undead, evil alignment. Undead creatures find it all but impossible to resist your commands. If the undead succeeds at its save, but doesn't critically succeed your command, it is your minion for 1 round. If the undead fails its save, it is your minion for 10 minutes. If it critically fails, it's your minion for 24 hours. So I think this kind of goes back to why it has to be evil. You're not summoning a bunch of undead. You're willfully taking over already existing undead. And this is kind of my theory with the undead. They don't have souls, but they still move, they still walk, they still think, they still process. And I think it's because what the dead have left, which make them undead, is will. Pure, unadulterated willpower from some source, magical or divine. So I think that's why this is evil, because what you're doing is you're effectively removing the will of an undead person. That's pretty evil, I think.
Honestly, I could set a precedent for argument on that with maybe your character is wincing control from an evil, spellcaster who's controlling these undead to bring peace to these poor souls or something. But that's just my flavor to it.
Sure. I think there may be existing spells and features that kind of do what you're talking about more cleaner. Because I feel like the intent with this is to be like, what's that? Random zombies? More like my random zombies, as opposed to, what's that? The dead is possessed? I will purge the possession.
But of course, also, excuse me, whatever table you're at, have a talk with your DM. Maybe they'll let you reflavor some certain things. It's honestly, there's nothing really set in stone.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of the thing about clerics. Because they're so flexible, it's because they fight from philosophy. They fight with perspective. And because those things are so, like, yeah, some things are cut and dry, but then some things have, complexity. And as long as you operate from a position, that complexity can work, and sometimes it can't. Again, talk to your GM. Next up, replenishment of war. Experts in your deity's favorite weapon. Oh, I'm sorry, that was yours.
Yeah.
I apologize. No, take it. I'm so sorry.
Replenishment of war, level 10 feet. Prereq is an expert in your deity's favorite weapon. Striking out against your enemies draws praise and protection from your deity. When you damage a creature with a strike using your deity's favorite weapon, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to half your level, or equal to your level if the strike was a critical hit. These temporary hit points last until the start of your next turn.
So remember how we said clerics can do everything? You want to be the tank? Make yourself a level 10 cleric, take replenishment of war, and then constantly have your level as a damage buffer before DR and everything else is factored in. Good God.
War Priest.
Ugh. 12th level, defensive recovery. Your faith, first of all, prereqs, harmful font or healing font, so any of the fonts from first level, it's 1 action. Your faith provides temporary protection in addition to healing. If the next action you use is to cast harm or heal on a single target, and the target regains hit points from the spell, it also gets a +2 bonus to AC and saving throws for 1 round. Further use of casting a heal spell and buffing your teammates for free. Or your undead minions. That's just really cool.
All right, next up we have defensive recovery, level 12 feet, 1 action. Prereq is harmful.
I just read that one.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I read the shield one. It's a lot different when it comes to my tablet.
It's understandable. The stuff on the website versus the book, it's a little out of order.
Let's see. Okay, which is the next one? Domain focus, right?
Yes.
Okay. Domain focus feat. It's a level 12 feat. Prereq is one or more domain spells. Your devotion to your deity's domains grows greater, and so does the power granted to you. If you spend at least 2 focus points since the last time you refocused, you recover 2 focus points when you refocus instead of 1. Remember when I said before how really awesome focus spells is, and it only takes, you're basically taking a 10-minute knee to regain 1 focus point. Now you can do that and regain 2.
Yeah, and it should be stated that you're not limited to only refocusing for 10 minutes. The maximum amount of focus points you can get is 3. You can, in theory, take 30 minutes to get all 3 back. However, you get more bang for your buck with these abilities that make it a lot easier and faster to get focus points. I see in the chat, Avenging Penguin is asking what the time limit is for a cadaver before you can raise them. I think that is specific in the spell. If you look at, I think, Summon Undead or Raise Undead, there should be a language that says the freshness of the corpse. I believe. Yeah.
I want to say I believe. I think I remember Raise Undead is it has to be within at least a day or so. But Raise Undead is like, yeah.
Well, let's find out, shall we? I'm going to look that up. I was looking up in the book, but you know what? This is an amazing tome with tons of knowledge. I don't have time for that. While I'm looking it up, I'm going to go to the next one. Emblazon Anti-Magic. Emblazon, crazy ability, right? One of my favorite. Level 12, your deity's symbol protects against offensive magic. When you emblazon an armament, you can choose from the following effects. Shield. When the wielder has a shield raised, they grant the shield circumstance bonus to saving throws against magic, and they can use shield block against damage from their enemy spells. That's cool for so many reasons. One, if you have a certain shield or magical shield, you could be getting anywhere between a +1 to a +5 on that save. And that's going with everything else. Now you can use shield block against spells. Normally, like, you get engulfed in a fireball, right? Not now. Now you get to resist some of the fire damage. Weapon. When the wielder's weapon critically hits with the weapon, when the weapon's wielder critically hits with that's clunky, but I get it. They can attempt to counteract a spell on their target, using their level as the counteract level. When they attempt to do so, the emblazoned symbol immediately disappears. So, oh no, you spend some downtime, you put a new one on there. That's awesome. That's a mage killer. That's an evil mage killer. God bless. I want to play a cleric so bad right now.
All right. Next up is Shared Replenishment. It's a level 12 feat. Prereq is Replenishment of War. When your deity blesses your warlike acts, you can extend that favor to your allies. You can grant the temporary hit points from Replenishment of War to an ally within 10 feet instead of gaining them yourself. You can grant these temporary hit points to a different ally each time, meaning you might be able to grant them to multiple creatures in a single turn. So,
God bless.
Yeah. Big buff. Big buff. Big buff to your friends.
Jeez, oh my God. So
everybody gets a Gatorade.
Seriously, everyone take a knee. Everyone gets pads. We're not playing this football game without them now. My God. So now at level 12, you can decide to be the mage killer cleric. You can be a second stage of buffer or buffing. You get more domain powers back. Or you can just choose to give a buttload of people temporary HP and make sure no one dies. Like, God, I want to swear it's so good.
I mean, you can swear now, I think.
Oh, all right. God damn, it's so good. I want to slap it in the mouth. To answer your question, Avenging Penguin, about the spell, I haven't found Raise Undead, but there is a ritual for Create in Undead, where you basically get to, with very small limitations, create your own undead minion. It's a ritual. It takes about 1 day to cast. Let me see if I can't find a better one. I'm going to look for that and get back to you. Oh, wait. Animate Dead.
I was going to say, essentially, it's kind of like creating Frankenstein's monster a little bit.
A little bit. And there's some cool things. You can start creating minions that are like more dedicated. Animate Dead. Here we go, Avenging Penguin. Duration sustained up to a minute, 2 action cost to cast. Your magic dredges up a corpse or skeleton and fills it with necromantic life. In theory, you can basically summon an undead from the realm of the dead or potentially turn a corpse into a dead person so long as they have been dead for about, I'm guessing, a round. That's kind of what it vibes like. Mostly you're going to be summoning the undead. You don't have to worry about corrupting corpses.
Yeah. Hey, Peach, I just realized something. Undead Baymax.
Oh, no. Oh, what was the brother's name? Toshi?
Yeah. Just bring Toshi back as Baymax.
Oh, that's morbid. There is Ray's dead. You know what? I think we're getting off topic, but
Yeah,
the general theory is that it appears to be within 1 round to 10 minutes, depending on which spell you're casting.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, let's get back to the feats.
Yes.
All right. Next one up, I believe, is Extend Armament Alignment, level 14 feet. Prereq here is Align Armament. The alignment you impose on a weapon lasts much longer. The duration of Align Armament increases to a minute. So yeah, increases. Really cool ability.
Yeah. There's a one, Deity's Protection. You have to have the advanced domain from level 8. When you call upon your deity's power to fulfill the promise of their domain, you gain divine protection. After you cast a domain spell, you gain resistance to all damage until the start of your next turn. The amount of resistance is equal to the level of the domain spell you cast. So now you just get more free defense stuff. You cast a focus spell, and you can get anywhere between 1 and 10 free DR on everything. Oh, God. Why don't you get the next one?
All right, I'm trying to. I kind of lost my place. What's the next one called?
Fast channel.
Okay, give me a second. Fast channel. It's a level 14 feat. Prereq is harmful font or healing font. Divine power is always at your fingertips. Swiftly responding to your call. When you cast harm or heal by spending 2 actions, you could get the effects of a 3-action version instead of the 2-action version. You could do this with harm if you have a harmful font, or heal if you have a healing font, or both if you have versatile font. So essentially, you're going to be casting it at the highest level if you cast it as a second level, a 2-action ability.
Now, I know it doesn't say this, and it may bring it up later, but I would even argue, if you want to be that guy, and I'll be that guy, that since the 3-action cost or 3-action variant can be done with only 2 actions, would the 2-action variant be done with 1?
Possibly.
Maybe. I think they're giving you a choice of either or. Like, you can either make 1 super buff or 1 AoE. Still, the fact that you can now do a gigantic AoE of heal or hurt and still have 1 action to attack or run away is so good for your action-based, your turn economy. That's really good. Swift Banishment, reaction, feat level 14. You critically hit a creature that is not on its home plane and have the banishment spell prepared. You expend a banishment spell that you have prepared, affecting the creature you critically hit without needing to cast the spell. So that's actually kind of nice. If you crit someone, you get an automatic cast and success at banishing them if you have the banishment spell prepared. I think that's a good compromise.
All right, next up is Eternal Bane, level 16 feet. Prereq is an evil alignment. A life of evil has made you a nexus for your deity's vile power. You're continuously surrounded by a Bane spell with a spell level equal to half your level. Rounded up, the radius is 15 feet and you can't increase it. You can dismiss the spell. If you do, it returns automatically after 1 minute. So basically, you have a free buff that's going to be on you at all times.
Technically, yeah. They're going to have a free debuff on them at all times, equal to half your level rounded up. That means they could be suffering from, like, let's see, this is 16, a -8, give or take, depending on how the spell heightens. Now, this is what's cool. This is bonkers. You can create basically an aura debuff of 15 feet radius, 30-foot diameter, right? But now you get to have this awesome moment where, because now you're starting to get to the level where you're starting to become like an avatar of your deity, right? What is their presence is literally on you, in you, around you, the force, whatever. So now you get to role play the kind of subconscious psychological effects that you have on the world around you. We've all been there, right? When we hear stories about like cult leaders having this terrifying power of charisma, this air of mystique, and something beyond the mundane. Rasputin, Jared Leto. He even confirmed he's a cult leader. Good for him. But now you get, so how are you going to talk about that? Like, are you evil and this is just this dark glare that you give off from your eyes? Are you constantly like whispering, muttering prayers under your breath and that effect is around you? Or are you good? And you're so good that, there's this effect of like, like mark yourself. You're messing with powers beyond your understanding.
I even want to say you can also play it off as a flavor where, like, if you're near like plants, like flowers, they wilt nearby, or milk kind of curdles, nearby you and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you get to kind of play up the again, like the ritual, the repetition, the language, the culture of why, because it's not just it happens. There's a cause and effect to everything.
Yeah,
there's a cultural creation there.
Like woodland creatures, GTFO at the sight of you.
And if they try to fight you, they have a really hard time doing it because that's a -8.
Yeah. I'm just envisioning like a reverse Disney princess.
Sorry, I'm actually envisioning that, and I'm just imagining Belle or like Ariel, like, look at my things, aren't they all neat? Isn't it great how they scream in defeat?
Careful,
wouldn't
copyright.
you say? Well, yeah, I'm parody law, because I changed the words. Anyway, eternal blessing, same as eternal bane, but bless. And this is great if again you want to be a buff build. Yeah. Considering that you're already throwing out your heal spells and upping their movements, their plus to hit, their plus to damage, or their plus to AC, now every creature around you within a 30-foot diameter is in the effects of blessing. Like they get like a +4 or 5, whatever, to hit. It's insane.
Yeah, this is literally, you are now the Disney princess. Or one of my favorites from, I think it's the second Shrek movie, where the princesses storm the castle, and I think the Snow White princess does that, and all the birds start attacking.
Shrek, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think she's singing Foreigner song?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's
called. But you remember all the birds and the chipmunks, they all start attacking the guards?
Dude, it is so deep in my head that every time I hear Foreigner song, I think of those birds. Like even in Thor, God of Thunder, I was waiting for the birds to show up, and I'm like, no.
Hey, Thor is a Disney princess.
Yeah, I'd buy that. If he's not a Disney princess, he is for sure a Disney prince.
Yeah.
They're mostly himbos anyway.
All right. Resurrectionist. It's a level 16 feat. You can cause a creature you bring back from the brink of death to thrive and continue healing. When you restore hit points to a dying creature or bring a dead creature back to life and restore hit points to it, you grant the creature fast healing for 5 for 1 minute. This fast healing ends if the creature is knocked unconscious. So, yeah, it's pretty much like, I kind of want to say it's a little insurance on top of that resurrection or raise the dead or healing from the brink of death or healing after Daltonshire.
I was trying to think of a character from Edge of Legend that has a problem with dying. It's funny, after like episode 6, y'all have been a lot harder to kill, I've
Yeah.
noticed. So I
I'm
have
just
to up my
saying,
game.
Laszlo lives.
Maybe he does, but we will get to that later. Now we're in the level 18 feats. Domain Wellspring. Prerequisites, the domain focus. Plenty of opportunities to get that at this point. Highly recommend picking it up. The intensity of your focus grows from the investment you placed in your domains. If you have spent at least 3 focus points since your last refocus, refocusing now gives you all 3 in the 10-minute time slot. And your just economy now is just so much better.
All right, next up is Echoing Channel, level 18 feet. 1 action. When you pull forth positive or negative energy, you also create a smaller pocket of that energy. If the next action you use is to cast a 2-action harm or heal, to heal or harm or heal or damage a single creature, choose 1 additional creature adjacent to either you or the target. Target that creature with a 1-action version of the same spell. This spell is the same level as the 2-action harm or heal you cast and doesn't cost another spell slot.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so basically, it's 2 actions in 1. Right there,
Yeah,
really, right?
absolutely. Like, that's really good. So you cast 1 2-action cost to do a super heal to 1 person. And
Mm-hmm.
then for another 1 action, boom, a free version of that exact same spell at a 1 level action cost.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you could do all 3 to do giant AoE, but what if you don't want to risk healing the bad guys?
Mm-hmm.
What if there's just not that many people around to heal?
Mm-hmm.
And what if one person really needs a bit more healing than the other person?
Yeah.
It's just
And
beautiful action
yeah.
economy.
And honestly, on top of that, it doesn't use that second heal or harm does not use up a spell slot.
Yeah, it's that freebie that really makes it worth
Yeah.
it. My God. Improved Swift Banishment. Prerequisites, obviously, Swift Banishment. You can use Swift Banishment as long as you have a spell slot 5th level or higher remaining, even if you don't have Banishment prepared. You have to sacrifice a spell slot 5th level or higher, and the banishment effect you create is heightened to the level of that spell. Your weapon serves as a special material component of banishment, causing the target to take a -2 penalty to its save against the spell banishment. Not only do you not have to have banishment prepared now, not only do you not have to worry about. Basically, this lets you hit, autocast, and spontaneous cast a spell that imposes a penalty on the save. If you're fighting a demon, boom, that's
Yeah.
that demon done. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
My
All
God.
right. Now we are in the capstones, the level 20 feats for clerics. First up is Avatar's Audience. Your extensive service has made you a lesser herald of your deity, which affords you certain privileges. First, any creature you encounter knows instinctively that you speak for your deity. Second, if you conduct the commune ritual to contact your deity, you don't have to pay any cost and you automatically get a critical success. Third, once per day, you can cast Plane Shift as a divine innate spell, but only to travel to the realm of your deity. When you cast it this way, its casting time is 1 minute. Your religious symbol is a sufficient tuning fork for this spell, and you appear exactly where you want to be. If you're in your deity's realm due to the spell, you can return to the point you left when you cast it by spending a single action, which has the concentrate and divine traits. So essentially, you have a divine hotline to your deity.
If I think the best way to compare this is y'all remember divine intervention in
Mm-hmm.
the other system. This is like that, but not only do you get divine intervention as an ability, there's an amazing sense of role play where all of your role play has paid off. All of
Mm-hmm.
you with your ritual, repetition, ceremony, prayer, culture, words, songs, philosophy, it is paying off. You are now the closest thing to your god on this physical realm.
You're
That's
basically Silver
magical.
Surfer to your gods Galactus.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I.
then
Mhm.
there's a teleporter action, which I don't know. We have to look up how plane shift works, but Reap
Yeah.
Psyche says send an MFer to meet your god. If you could teleport, instead of banish, teleport your enemy to your god's plane, and that's a demon, Can you imagine how bad that's gonna suck for them? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I do have a word of advice though. Don't drunk dial your deity. Never a good idea. Never a good idea. Don't drunk
Unless
dial
you're
your exes or your deities. Never good.
unless unless your deity is a god of like alcohol, like Caden Kalian or Rochelle, and they're just sitting there getting a text from you. What? What's up, bruh? How drunk are you? You need a ride? Now you good? Nice. Anyway, do you have anything else to add? I didn't want to step on your toes.
Oh no, I'm good.
All right. Maker of Miracles, the other level 20. This gives you an additional level 10 spell slot. This is your godly divine magic, so absolutely. Now, the last one for the core rulebook, the last level 20. Do you want me to cover that, Michael, or do you want to cover that?
Oh, I got it. I got it. Next one is called Meta Magic Channel, level 20 feet. It's a free action. Deep understanding of divine revelations into the nature of vital essence allows you to freely manipulate the effects of your positive or negative energy. Use one meta magic action that you can perform that normally takes one action and can be applied to the harm or heal spell. If you use it in this way, its effects apply only to a harm or heal spell.
So, I need to do a quick look at the meta magic. These actions tweak your spells. You must use a meta magic action directly before casting the spell. So, what that means at level 20 is that for free, once around at the end of your turn, you can cast heal or harm as a meta magic effect. So I imagine that means as a reach spell, as an AoE spell, whatever you want, for free, once around, every round. And at level 20, that means that's at least a 10d8 or a 10d10
Yeah.
for free. Holy balls. That, and, with the reach on that sucker, you can just do a full round of action and then 30-foot AoE or 30-foot code.
Yeah.
Just,
Honestly, yeah, the Meta Magic Channel, I gotta say, it gets my gold star here. It may not be as flashy
yeah.
as the other stuff, but
I'm on the fence because like I love the free action to cast harm or heal, especially because at level 20, you're probably going to have 15, 20, 25 casts of heal or harm. And to have those for free to fire off with everything else we can do with the emblazoned actions and the channeled smites, you now have someone that is an amazing DPS. Also someone who's amazing DPS while healing and buffing the party at the same time. You're doing everything.
And on top of that, you probably also would take Versatile Font, which allows you access to both healing and harm.
Yeah. So remember at the beginning of this episode, we talked about how a lot of people just kind of write off the cleric as being just the heal bot. You know what I like to call the heal lamp. You turn it on and you just let it wave over you. I think we've proven that this thing can literally do anything it wants. Do you want to be a healer? Of course. Do you want to be a healer and a buff support? With ease. Do you want to be a healer, buff support, tank? Of course. Do you want to be a healer, buff support, tank, frontline DPS that's going to be probably making the rogue look like a silly loser?
Yeah.
You can. And none of this is including magic weapons, which you're going to be getting along the way.
And also on top of that, honestly, a good cleric worth their salt is that thin line that will keep your party from TPKing.
Yeah. There's some really amazing spells, too. Not just the feat abilities, but the actual spells that we show in Edge of Legend when Sydney's playing Alona. And there are times where I'm like, yes, how could I possibly lose this fight? And you get the Barbarian going into a rage, and you get the Cleric doing her thing, and I'm like, I never had a chance.
And then and then you have Rufa there just constantly, okay, you're getting up, you're on the floor again. You're getting up, you're on the floor again. You're getting up, you're on the floor again.
See, and it's such a great combination. Then you have like Shionibus in the back with a range, just peppering them, and you have, of course, Woodward, who can now turn into a bear. So there's just so many awesome things that these classes can do in this game, and the Cleric. like absolutely spits in the face of the idea that they're just heal bots or that they're only good at one thing. They're good at like 90 things.
Yeah.
And you now get the freedom
Mm-hmm.
as a cleric player to express the beautiful and poetic minutia of your willpower and belief, and put that poetry into the effects of your spells, how they look, how they sound, how they smell, how they taste, what emotions do they create. When you're buffing someone, are you buffing them just because it's rules as written, or are you doing it because something divine is coming through your will and intent? D&D is not only role play out of combat. D&D is role play every day, every step of the way. And look at those opportunities to talk about your ritual, your repetition, your minutia, your prayers. Look about how you can put in flavor, affect the senses, and also think about the structure of a culture. Why is this the way? Why? This is the way. But why is it the way? I mean, if you think about it, the Mando is a religion. It's a religion and a culture. You could have a Mando cleric.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of At the Table. We did a deep dive in the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Cleric, and my God, what an awesome class! Oh my, I want to play it. I want to play it right now. So good. What was your thoughts, Mr. Michael Powell? What did you feel like?
Yeah. Once again, like I said before in the video, it's a very underappreciated class. More people should be playing it.
I agree wholeheartedly. And the cool thing is there's an option for everyone. And like we said earlier with our religious role play as well as the cleric, take the opportunity to find your rituals, your repetitions, your ceremonies, and your culture, and then use all of that to influence the poetry of your role play and combative options. Clerics give you so much to play with. So I'm curious what you do at your table. And without further ado, let's say our goodbyes. Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where we can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, as always, I'm Michael Powell. You can find me all over the interwebs on my social media, which is at Mr. Kapow, that's MRKAPAO, or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell Does Stuff, because I do a lot of stuff, such as my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Fantastic Tales of Adventure. And also on Thursdays on the Toyzilla Twitch channel, I'm part of a show called Toyzilla Live, where I talk about toy news and nostalgia stuff. A lot of fun. How about you, PJ?
Thanks for asking. You know me, my name is PJ McGaw. I'm all over the internet at pj.mcgaw. When I'm not here with Michael Powell on Tuesdays, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at pj.mcgaw, or here Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard for the Pathfinder 2nd Edition homebrew show, Edge of Legend. We're now on our 32nd episode as the Green War marches onward. The heroes find themselves an opportunity to not only party and find love, but to also decide if they're going to kill one of the evil generals of the Green Army or stop the superweapon from destroying Adolphon Prime. So tune in 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to see what choices they make. And tune into Life Action Roleplay this Thursday, February 25th at 7 p.m. to see You're Truly joining in on Alice is Missing, the first all-silent role-playing game where we have to figure out who our characters are and where Alice is, and if she is still alive, entirely in text. It's going to be on the screen. It's going to be super dope, so come and check it out. And so then, we'll see you here, same Nat time, same Nat channel, at the table. Be safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.